Hey everyone, this is Chase Beach with InsurGrid coming to you live with another InsurGrid Agent Spotlight. Today, we have Andrew Schmidt of Farmers Insurance out in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Andrew, so I know we were talking before we hit record, but tell the audience a little bit more about how long you've been in the insurance industry, how you got involved.
Right. So I had been previously licensed in 2012. That was a part-time producer gig. Didn't last. I let my licenses lapse. But I'd been in the fitness industry for 15 years. The last several years of that, I was with a software company that serviced the fitness industry. It was a third-party CRM, basically like agency Zoom, right? But when the pandemic hit, the company cut 70% top down. And I was doing my bills one day. I realized that I still owe my insurance note. So that light bulb clicked, renewed my licenses, got back on with Farmers. And because I have a software company background, I kind of gravitate towards more the tech side of things. I found out about InsurGrid through a mastermind group on Facebook of farmers agents. Through this group, I had first been exposed to Canopy Connect, but in using Canopy, nothing against them, it just didn't have the usability. It didn't have the front-facing website that I really gravitated towards as a consumer. So I found a little bit of difficulty with that. I gave up on it, but in browsing around on that site again, in some of the comments, someone asked if this was anything, and they were referencing the other company. They said, is this like InsurGrid? I'm like, well, I have never heard of InsurGrid. So I looked up InsurGrid. I watched a couple of the YouTube videos and I saw the front-facing site and I saw the different ways that it can still capture information even from an incomplete submission. And that's what really kind of drew me in to want to use it, because I couldn't track if I was getting incomplete submissions from the other one, and now I can. So it ties into a principle that I had with the last company that I was with, the software company, that said no lead lost. And this is really exemplifies that in this industry. So with that, the way that I've been using it, I predicate my agency on using InsurGrid, right? As soon as I got the tool and as soon as I started using it, I saw the power of it, I saw the potential, and I really predicate everything I do on using it. I even do events. I do promo events where I've got a QR code that people scan and I'm talking to them. I'm out, I'm talking to people. Even if they scan it, I make sure that they put in their first little bits of information so they can see the next page. They don't know that I'm actually capturing incomplete data, and it'll show up as a complete submission once they finish it. But until then, I've actually captured their incomplete data and I can reach back out to them, which is kind of nice. So in that sense, even if someone clicks on it and they start to fill it out and they're like, oh, I don't have my login information, I still have the data from the first page. And that's been probably the biggest game changer. It's transparency. It helps me filter out to really work with customers with high intent. I've come across a lot of people that I've called that will say things like, well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm paying with Progressive, Allstate, et cetera, until you tell me your price. And I'm just like, we're not really playing on the same field here. That's a waste of my time, because you don't, like, the customer doesn't talk about insurance all day long. I do. Right? So if I ask them a question about their coverage, they might not know, and they're basing their perception on price. It's not the same conversation. So having a tool like InsurGrid is setting me apart, because I can say, and this is an example that I use, and anyone listening in can use it for themselves. I like to tell people, I'm like the locksmith to your financial house. Okay? You put whatever you want in there, crypto, properties, mutual funds, whatever, but I'm the locksmith. I'm going to make sure that no accident or liability incident can get in there and take what you've built up. But here's the thing, if you want a quote for my services, I got to know how many doors you have. I got to know how many windows you have. Is it a 1-story house, 2-story house? What's in the basement? I've got to know all these things. Otherwise, I'm just shooting in the dark. So using a tool like InsurGrid has really brought a lot of transparency and fairness to the process and helps me filter out the high intent consumers. They're conditioned to think about price. So having InsurGrid and being able to tell people, look, you probably don't have your declarations page handy. I get it. I get it. I do. You know, I'm not a doctor. I don't have access to my medical. I break it down to what they equate to in their industry. I say, so just use this link here real quick. It takes 2 minutes tops. And then I'll actually be able to see what you have and what you're paying. That way I can give you an accurate quote and see if I can actually cut you a better deal. I turn the conversation around a little bit to say, hey, using this puts me in position to have to offer you a better deal, either same coverage, better price, or better price, better coverage. You know, just it turns the conversation around to where they don't feel like they're being hassled by the traditional insurance agent. So I put that link not only in my email signature, I've put it all through my automations, I've put it in every single thing I can do. And more importantly, I actually cloak my InsurGrid link with Bitly. So when it's in my automations, it's within a Bitly link shortening, or I've shortened the link. So that way I can track how many emails and texts are going out, how many clicks I'm getting on it. When I can track the clicks, I can track complete versus incomplete submissions, and then I can track conversions. So I use the QR codes when I'm at promo events, when I'm trying to cross promote different things, I'm talking to people, and that's fine and good. I'll use the QR codes on postcards that I send out with the service thanks.io, right? I'll use it for that. But the biggest wave of exposure that I have to my InsurGrid link is the cloaked link inside text messages and emails that I blast out several hundred a day within my automations. All of them. I send it out to literally all of them. Like if I have a new lead or an X date or a referral or anyone, I literally predicate everything I do on the InsurGrid link. You know, even if I'm calling an X date or a new lead and I move them over from one pipeline into the next stage of the pipeline, I've got automations that are set up to say, hey, thanks for chatting with me real quick. Just so you know, I use this in my agency. Go ahead and click on that, fill that out. I'm going to get to work on your quote right now, but go ahead and do this so I can make sure I'm quoting against, I'm giving you an accurate quote against what you currently have. So I literally try to funnel everything I do back through InsurGrid. So I actually work with a couple different agents that say, well, I don't know about the software. I don't know about this tech stuff. I don't know. And it's really unfortunate. That's why I use Bitly to cloak it. So I can say, actually, no, I can verifiably track all of these clicks. I can see where it's coming from. So they just need to do it. Honestly, they just need to do it. And for the people that have submitted their information and done a complete submission, super simple. They're like, oh, that's really cool. I've gotten no complaints from it. The only time I've run into any sort of, I don't know if I know this or that. Well, here's the thing. When I have a quote in the system, I've already got all that person's basic information. You know what I mean? Right. And if they say, well, I don't know what my password is, I don't know what this, that, the other is. If I'm sitting down with them in person, I'm the one that has the tech background. I'm the one that's the agent. I need to be the expert. So you know what? I'll get onto their existing carrier's website and I will help them reset their password and connect to their policies, and then help and literally turn my computer around and say, okay, now you just have to be the one to click on this to submit it to me, and we're all good. So I take it upon myself to do the hard work or to do the leg work, or the heavy lifting, whatever you want to call it, for anyone that has any resistance to it. Because once they get over that resistance, they see how easy it was. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't have to dig up my papers. I didn't have to do this. No, I've got it taken care of for you right here. And now I see what you got. This is what I've got. And it brings it back to that transparent process. Right. So I take a sum of all things approach. Number one, it's in my email signature. So even if I'm emailing someone manually and it's not in my automation, it's always there. And I have the link embedded into my signature. And I'll usually put in a little PS, be sure to connect your policies with this. So that's in my email signature, number one. Number two, on my business card, I've got an InsurGrid QR code on my business card. So whenever I'm handing out business cards, it's always, hey man, scan my link. I'd love to give you a quote. It's super simple. Whenever I exchange money, I have a different business card. And this was actually an idea that came to me from Whitney, who said that she got it from a different agent. It's whenever I'm in a service industry environment, I have a card that says, thanks for serving me. I'd love the chance to serve you. And I have my QR code on it. Whenever I do promo events.
So when you're at like a restaurant maybe, or
a restaurant, or retail interaction, or just anytime I have the opportunity to talk to someone that is treating the interaction as a service, I'll go ahead and give it to them. I have it on my I have it on my my signage when I do promo events, and then on top of everything, my entire marketing funnel through email and text messages, to X states, new leads, et cetera, referrals that come in automatically, is all geared to funnel directly through that link. And then even when I contact someone and make, and have conversation, I'm like, okay, you're at this address, you're, how long you've been there. And I get all like the intake form information, right? I still move them to a stage in my pipeline that sends them out an automatic text that says, hey, I'm going to get to work on this. Thank you very much for talking to me. But hey, go ahead and upload your policies so I know what I'm quoting against and can get you something accurate. If a new agent wants success with this, they literally have to have all roads go through their link before someone gets a quote.